So this is going to cover Garuda, Tomb of Wraithwall, and Belias. So when you're coming in here, if you have the Reflect mode or Reflect mode, you want to use the Reflect mode pretty much right before you start the Garuda fight. Then once you do that, you want to turn on everyone's gambits, and then only enter the fight once the 4th Reflect has actually hit Vossler, or the last character. Then after this, you want to flee towards Garuda until Penella's pretty much right at its face. And then once you see that every dark has an action under it, that's when you're going to want to turn off everyone's gambits. And if you're lucky like that, Penella will be in critical HP, which is what you want. That is definitely what you want. That's why you go into that fight with your party leader as Penello, so that she's the one that gets hit. So as soon as the fight's done, and make sure you turned your gambits off, you want to immediately switch in Bosch and take out everyone else. So you're going to want to come here and talk to Dice, and we're going to buy some things. You want to buy 2 cherry staves, 3 cypress pulls, 1 wizard hat, and 1 wizard robe. And then you also want to buy the spells Sleep, Oil, Zerk, and Arrow. And then finally, you want to pretty much have about 2 Phoenix Downs, maybe not 2 eye drops, but I accidentally did that. But the main thing is 2 Echo Herbs and 2 Golden Needles. So once you've done that, you want to come in here to your menu, go into the Gambits, and for every character, Vaughn, Ash, and Penello, you want to switch their Dark Gambits to Arrow, and then turn on their Gambits. And then finally, optimize all 3 of them. Now, the reason it's vital that Penello is in critical HP is that because when you did your menu in the Leviathan, you should have licensed Spellbreaker for Penello. Spellbreaker increases your magic potency when you're in critical HP. And if and only if Penello has Spellbreaker active, which means she's in critical HP, only in that case will you be able to kill Demon Wall in 1 round. Now, I should have used Balthier to walk here. That's a mistake I keep on making. It's just so that in case Demon Wall ends up getting something off like Doom or X-Zone or something like that, that Balthier is the one that ends up getting hit by that, because we don't actually use Balthier throughout all of the Tomb of Wraithwall. But after the Demon Wall fight, we're going to use Bosch to walk, and you really don't want him with Doom or Silence or Blind or anything like that. So usually there you should walk with Balthier, which means you would switch to Balthier as soon as the Garuda fight's done. But that's just something I keep forgetting to do. So what I generally do here is when I get to about this spot right here, I bring in Ash, Penello, and Vaughn. Make sure Ash is your party leader. And their gambit should be on if you put them on in the menu, but if you didn't, go ahead and put them on as soon as possible. You're going to want to have Ash run right up to the Demon Wall and start taking hits, and once all 3 arrows have actions under them, turn off your gambits. And like I said, if you do that right, you will 1 round Demon Wall. So I guess this covers Demon Wall too. So now, since Ash is your party leader, assuming that she did not get critted all the way during Demon Wall, you want to have her start hitting herself until she gets into critical HP, which is there, and that's perfect. So then from there, you definitely want to walk with Vaughn, Ash, and Penello as long as you can, because you want their reflex to run out. Because if you were to try to keep their reflex, like if you were to switch to Bosch or someone as soon as the Demon Wall fight's over, and then tried to use those reflects for Belias, they won't last. So that's why we're going to end up recasting Reflect for everyone before Belias. So do note to make sure that you keep them out as long as possible. So generally, I take Vaughn, Ash, and Penello out right when I get to the top of these stairs here, just to be sure that they don't get targeted. Awful menu, sorry. But yeah, you want to take them out then and bring out Bosch. He's going to be the main person we're running with in the Tomb of Wraithwall. It's also fairly important to know that you go left instead of right here first. I'm not going to explain it, but just do it. So when you go left, you want to take the first left once you get down here. You don't want to go to that top level. You want to go down these stairs to the bottom level. And if you're running this game, you should pretty much know where to go at all times, but this is just in case someone is learning this specific section of the run. So the way I always remember this is that since I go left, the first way I need to go coming out of this door is to the left. So as you can see, if you turn left, that's the way you're supposed to go. And when you go the right way, you will also have to go right out the door. So that's an easy way to try to remember that. And again, I'm not really going to explain where I'm going here because this is something that you really just need to learn with practice when you're learning this run. So once you get up here, you're going to want to hit the switch. I usually turn off Bosch's gambits at that time. If you can turn them off beforehand, that works too. It's just so that when you're trying to touch this waystone, Bosch isn't trying to attack people. So as you can see, when he's going to walk to this waystone now, he's not attacking anyone, he's just walking straight to the waystone. So that's why I turn off gambits there for Bosch. And I suppose there's somewhere earlier that you could do that if you find it more convenient. Maybe when you're... I don't know when a good spot to do it would be, but that's something. It's just all that's also not necessary, but it's just one of those little extra time saves. So this time you're going to go right, and unlike last time where we took the first turn, this time we're going to take the second turn. So you're going to go up on the higher platform, not down these stairs here. Alright. So remember, I said if you go left, you take the left out the door, but since we went right this time, we were going to take the right out the door. And if you really don't know how to navigate through this, I suppose you could just play through this part going side by side with this video, and then eventually just do a bunch of practice and you'll end up getting it eventually. Okay, so you're going to hit this button, this pedestal if you will, and that allows us access into the room to Belias, so we're going to go and head down there. As you can see, Bosch did take a decent amount of damage, but as long as he doesn't die, you're generally fine. And I'd say it's probably 1 in 30 times he will die walking through Tomb of Wraithwall. If that's the case, you can either just bring in Vossler or Fran, depending on how much time you have left, or you can bring in Vaughn if you really want. But you don't want to bring in Ash or Penella since they're in critical. Okay. So once we're in here, as soon as you can, open the menu, bring in Ash as your party leader. You need to go into your licenses and go to Ash. She should have enough to buy a Spellbreaker, which she needs for this fight. So be sure to do that. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is prime Reflect on Vossler with Ash. And I'm going to cast it as soon as I get down these stairs here. So there. As soon as you start casting Reflect, you're going to want to switch to Vaughn. So Vaughn ends up getting this elixir here, and then you switch back to Ash, and now you're already here instead of having to walk all the way back. And then finally, once you do that, you just want to turn on everyone's gambits. And this is when I switch to Vaughn. And then after that, you're ready to do the fight. Okay, well that was a little bit of a time waste, but yeah. Usually Vaughn's a little bit closer to the stairs when I switch to him, so. Alright, so what you're going to do is flee right up to Belias, and then maybe take a couple steps back. You really want Vossler to be the closest thing to Belias. And if you want to, just as a little bit of safety, you can bring up the ladies just a little bit. Okay, so here's where this is important. After every single hit of arrow lands here, you need to come into your menu, ATB reset everyone. And if you do this right, you end up not getting fire agit. And holy mother of gold. So yeah, that's the Still Shrine, or Tomb of Wraithwall. And if you can, you want to sneak in turning off these gambits, so you don't have to deal with that, but yeah. And then finally, I come over here sometimes and try to grab this elixir, or wrong chest. But I got a Phoenix down, which is nice, but yeah, usually I go for this chest which has an elixir in it, and it does not today. Since I had to sell an elixir earlier, I'd like to try to make that up sometimes, but that can either have a white fang or an elixir in it. But yeah, that's the Tomb of Wraithwall and the 3 bosses in it. And I guess just as a final note, this is the prep for Vossler. If you want to do a little bit of a slower strat for Vossler, you can put the ATB on wait. As soon as Vossler starts, and you know what, we'll just go ahead and cover Vossler while we're at it. It's a really short, easy fight. If you want to use slower strats here, you can put the ATB on wait so that when the Vossler fight starts, you can take your time and select arrow. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Pinello and have her cursor primed on arrow, so that all you have to do when the fight starts is press X a few times and maybe right once. So you're going to come here and prime arrow like that. And you're supposed to touch the waystone there, not read the inscription. So I'm not going to explain the beginning of this fight. I'm going to do it now because it's going to be extremely quick. But if you decide to do the non-ATB wait strat, where you leave it on active, what you need to do is hit X, left, X, X, right, X. Really, really quickly. It has to be very quick. So if this is a strat that you haven't really worked with before, I would recommend practicing it on wait first. But you need to hit X to get into the battle menu, left to switch to Pinello, X to hit X to hit magic, X to hit black magic, X to hit arrow, and then you want to hit right once to select the second guard, and then hit X to execute the attack. So if you can do that all really quickly, then you can probably do the ATB active strat. But if it's not something that you've really practiced before, I would definitely do the ATB wait strat, so you have enough time. But I think I'll be able to do this fine, hopefully. So that was a little bit slow, but that still should be enough time. Alright, so then at this time, this is when you're going to want to turn everyone's gambits on, so they start casting Reflect on themselves. And then finally, just let the gambits run out, really. So then after the first round of arrows, once everyone else's arrows are ready, you want to turn off gambits. And that was a perfect fight.